Hello, my name is LaMonte Wilcox. I am a mental health specialist, and I've helped over 200 people very quickly and effectively shift the way they understand and focus and use their mind so that they can break out of old patterns. And I am making a video here, and I haven't done this much, and I really want to help out with this epidemic that's now out that is affecting us in so many ways, with over 500,000 cases in the US alone, and around 1,900 deaths, or 19,000 deaths, and that is really touching my heart. And I would like to really kind of help, because the media does a lot of that polarization and really getting us to run off of a fear-based strategy, which is not the one that helps us the most. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and I want to talk a little bit about the different ways that our brain functions and how our brain works off of a reward system, so that we can interrupt that reward system when we have patterns and ways of thinking that don't help us get to what we truly want. And so I would like to make this quick video, and I have a lot to share. I spend sometimes 7 to 8 hours with a client to help them really make the shift and change, to really help them see things in a different way and to process differently. And but I only have a short period of time here, and I want to give you what I can that I think will maybe best help with this situation, because we're up against something really big here, and it's just barely starting. We think 500,000 is a lot, and we have 3.2 trillion people in the United States, and there are many countries and states that have barely been touched by this. So this is not going to be a quick thing, and we're doing all these things, and it's great that this country is really coming together and doing a lot to try to slow this down. A vaccine is not something that is likely to happen in a soon enough time to really make a difference with this wave that's coming. The social isolation is going to do so much, but it's very likely that a lot of us are still going to have to deal with more, and it's still growing, and it's in a we're doing lots there is, but I want to talk about the mental side and what your brain is doing, and what might it be doing to sabotage you from actually getting and making decisions that will best help you and protect your family and those around you, and helping to spread this virus. And so I wanted to share some of the things that I use with clients and ways that I help them get into their head in a way, because we ultimately have a guidance system inside of us that really truly helps us to get to really understand how to get the things that we truly want in this life. And I know that a lot of us really get in this place in our mind that makes it really rough. And I want to talk a little bit about how that happens, and what we can do to change that, to break patterns and to change the way that we address the things that are happening. Because if we're not capable of really being in control of our mental state, our mindset, as this happens, it's likely we're going to make decisions, and we're going to, even as we try to spread the word and we try to influence other people, oftentimes we push them away with our information, and we don't present it in a way that helps them be open to the data and to understand better what's going on. But there's a lot of professionals and scientists and people who really have a real good grip on a lot of what we can use that's really helpful. But if that word doesn't get out and people don't understand it, then we're going to be in a much worse predicament. And so I want to try to help you to be the influencer in your circles, to be the one who has a mindset, a stable mindset, even though you're struggling now, and maybe it's causing some panic and some frustration, some anxiety that leads to depression and some other things that kind of keep you isolated mentally and from other people. I want to help you get into a place where you can really influence those around you, because a lot of those who are struggling and feeling a bit of a panic or concern, a high level of concern, we're often the ones that gather a lot of data. And so it's good for us to be able to share that out with people, but not creating a fear, because that fear around it pushes people away. Because I want to talk a little bit about the two different systems in our brain and how they affect how we process things and how we perceive and respond to those. Because ultimately there's so much data right now about our brain, and it's helping in so many ways to really give the researchers so much information, and there's absolutely massive changing data that's coming in, and on a regular basis. I mean, back when Obama was president, he signed the bill for this brain initiative that now we've put $950 million into our country's research around the brain, and that research has flooded in. I figured almost 900 or 500 pages a day you'd have to read just to keep up with the data that's coming in, and we know massive amounts about the brain. And I want to cover just some of those kind of simple concepts that we can maybe take in a little bit that might help us with our perceptions and how that affects what our experience is, because there's only so much we can control. And there's two different systems our brain will kick in our system that will affect how we then process, and what areas of the brain that we use for processing information and processing this epidemic and these things that are happening. And if we do it with panic, or we do it with fear, we're likely to make very, very poor decisions, because the place of our brain that works in the panic and fear is not effective at accessing the data that we have stored in our subconscious mind. And it's ultimately being able to access data that we have, to make good decisions, to be creative, is all in the part of our brain that we give up and we sacrifice when we become panicked and when we become stricken with fear and terror at the things that might be coming. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because that is ultimately is going to affect your ability to influence those around you. And I know that's what we all want. We all want to share what we know. We all want to help people. But when you try to share what you know, when you do it with fear, it makes other people feel like you're accusing them of not knowing, not understanding, which is powerful to understand, because when you present the data that way, especially if those of you who might have teenagers and people that that you feel responsible for understanding these things, but when you do it with this fear, it pushes people away, and then they want to be defensive. And when they're defensive, they don't hear the message. They don't hear about the data. As a matter of fact, they turn it off because they don't want the pressure that you're putting on them from having this need that you're trying to meet by getting them to understand and getting them to buy into what you're trying to tell them. And the data is difficult. This is one of those times where the media, to play out and to get your buy-in and to get your views and to get you to watch more, they polarize the situation, and they amplify what these numbers mean a lot of times. And so they try to create that anxiety in you and that panic, and which turns me to a concept of looking at good sources. But I'm going to go into just kind of a little bit about our brain, and I hope that what we get here is things that will change you in a way that will help you understand better how your brain works, so that you can become more influential at serving and helping other people, and protecting yourself and protecting those that you love as this pandemic increases over time. Over 35,000 to 40,000 new cases every day reported in the United States, and there's a lot of things we don't know. And that data doesn't mean specific things that we sometimes come to these conclusions on. And I want to talk a little bit about how our brain works and how it might be counterproductive to get anxious and worried and overly worried and concerned and afraid of the things that might be coming, and how we can have that influence on other people. Because there's literally two different types of systems, and those systems, when they come on, whichever one comes on, will affect where we function in our brain, what parts of our brain we'll use, and those different areas of our brain will have different tendencies. And those tendencies can oftentimes get us caught in a repetitive process. Depression, anxiety, panic, those kind of things don't help us get to the things we want. Our brains there's so much around it right now, but the way our brains are experiencing this life and this environment is really creating a potential real struggle for our brain, because we tend to go into patterns and get stuck in patterns. There's two different mindsets I want to talk about that trigger different areas. And just real briefly, I want to talk about what these two different states of mind are. And different researchers and different people who talk about this use different terms, but I want to call this one the confined state of mind. That confined state of mind where the brain believes that if it just keeps things the same, you'll be safe because you're alive now. So that means in the brain, in that part of the brain, it means that if it keeps it that way, then you'll be safe. If things don't change, then it's okay. If things change, something could happen that could hurt you. And so that part of the brain tries to confine and keep the patterns that we currently have. And those patterns that we have are because we meet needs through those patterns, which we just, on a conscious level, we often just don't understand. But it's a confined state of mind. And that confined state of mind will kick in our sympathetic autonomic nervous system. It will turn on that sympathetic autonomic nervous system, which we often call our fight or flight or freeze state of mind. Which and nowadays, because the environment that our brains are coming up in, we do a lot of freeze. And we go back to our feelings of anxiousness and depression and things instead of solving our problems. That state of mind does not have that kind of connectivity. And so this kicks in our sympathetic autonomic nervous system. That part of our system is constantly focused and has the tendencies to focus on what we have to lose or what we've lost or what we can't do or have. Notice that when you're panicking, when you're struggling, it's a constant reminders and thoughts and ideas of what we're going to lose, what we've lost, or what we can't have or we can't do. So notice what part of your brain kicks in when you start to do that. The stories that play in your mind about what's going on are about losses and loss. Now, we create every situation, every experience twice, once in our mind and once that happens in reality. And this does not help us. This does not serve. This puts us in a place where we're already experiencing things and emotions of things that haven't even happened. And that just creates more panic and more frustration inside you that puts you deeper onto this confined state of mind. So it's about breaking those patterns and getting out of that. Because we focus on what we've lost. We focus over here what we can't do. Notice we're focusing so much on what we can't do. Now, the biggest, and there's a lot to this model that I use, but I'm going to simplify it down to give you some of the very basics. Because on this side, this is the free state of mind. That's where we're free. Our mind frees up and it accesses all the different data and information and experiences in your life that can ultimately help you and serve you. And this is where our parasympathetic autonomic nervous system kicks in. That is our rest and digest. That is the area that our body can function and it rests. We find peace. We can even digest our foods. You can find that people over here don't digest well. Even when they eat healthy foods, they don't get the nutrition out of the healthy foods. A lot of times they feel bloated. They feel like their stomach is interrupted when they eat healthy foods because they can't digest well. Their brain is looking for things that are already digested, like processed foods and sugars and things like that to get their energy, because that parasympathetic autonomic nervous system is kicking off, turning off the sympathetic nervous system. And so we want to try to help us to get in a place where we can make the best decisions, we can influence other people, and we don't create defensiveness in other people. We want to focus differently. We want to focus on what we can do, what we have to gain from our experience, instead of what we were going to lose or what we lost. Things that we have to gain or what we can gain. Things that we can do and have. Because what the media will do is they'll they'll work you up because they'll talk about all the things that we might lose or that's going to happen, the deaths and the misery and the suffering and all these things that we can't do and can't have. And they put a negative connotation to that because that's what drives you to take action as far as watching more of their programs, which is what they want. And so, and even your neighbors and friends, you'll feel like they're doing this to you because they're feeling panicked. So the key is to get out of that state of mind, to get out of the confined state of mind, because what we need here is change. We need to find and discover the changes that will best help us to influence this experience that we're having. And this epidemic is an incredible opportunity for us to learn about our own brain and how it works, so that in all the circumstances coming in our lives, not just this one, but all of them, we can start to see that it's not about problems. Over here, we see everything as a problem. Is our tendency is to see things as a problem. And it doesn't matter to me what's happening in your life. If you lost your job, if you've lost a loved one, if you see that as a problem, you're going to be miserable and you're going to be in this confined state of mind. And over here where we have this freedom, and some call this a growth mindset, because when something comes up that creates pain and suffering, when we see it as a problem, we have a really hard time being in the state of mind that helps us get out of that. But if we see it as a solution, we see this as a solution to something, solution to more things. Whichever way we decide to focus on this, if we see it as a problem, we see it as miserable, we see it as horrible and horrific and life-threatening and that losing life is so horrible and horrific, all those things, our brain is not in the place that's connected to ways to solve. We have to get in the place to solve first. And the way that we do that is we shift our focus. We look at the meaning that things have and we find a new meaning. What things does this solve? What do we have to gain? What can we do? What can we do right now? Go do the things that you know you can do. Go find the researchers, the real data, not the typical media. You get somebody coming on and they have music in the background and they have this intensity that goes with it, and this guy with the strong voice comes on and he says, we have, and he starts trying to don't listen to that. That is not the stuff to listen to. Go find the real research. Go to the sources. Go listen to what they have to say. Our president right now is having daily informative sessions where he's talking and he's telling the data. He has more resources than most people. He has access to the more resources than just about anyone. And the people who have good data, they're trying to get it to him because that's where the data is being brought together. So that is a good place to go to resources. And the people that he uses for resources, find out who they are and research them and go to their sites or wherever they have. But find out stuff yourself. What you can do. Sitting there and wallowing in what you can't do is not going to get you to answers. It's not going to help you influence. It's not going to help you serve. And so the question is, what are some things, for example, what are some things that we can do? They've told us a handful of things that we can do. And I'm not here to try to convince you or tell you that you should be doing certain things, but go learn the things that you can do. There's some that have been, just as an example, washing hands, not touching your face, social distancing, some basic things about what you can do, and getting the word out and helping other people focus on solutions. What you still have, even with the pandemic, where are we? If they keep talking about the economy and all these things, and people losing their jobs and all this stuff happening, but what do we still have? And what are we potentially going to have that's even better after this pandemic passes? What are some things that we're learning and growing from this experience? Find those things and focus on them, because that is so valuable for you to be in a state where you can influence other people. Our tendency and our brain addictions are that we need to get in a place of stress and worry and concern so that we'll finally take action. And that is a horrible way to go, Because we will always be oversimplifying. Because when we see things on this side of the brain, we oversimplify what's going on. We came to quick conclusions. We hear something on the news, we see a number, we see the number of deaths, we see the number, and we come to these quick, oversimplified conclusions. Notice, next time that you're super stressed, depressed, or anxious about something, notice that you are coming to really quick, oversimplified conclusions. And notice I say quick because on this side of the brain, we tend to have urgency as a number one priority. Have you ever been in an argument and you increase your volume and you do everything you can and you feel like that needs to be taken care of right now? And then the next morning you wake up and you think about that problem and you think, was that even important? Like, who even cares? But at the moment you get caught up in this oversimplifying, coming to a conclusion, because the lie that we live in this side of our brain is that if we can come to a conclusion, we can feel all better. Everything will be fixed. If we could just come to an agreement, come to a conclusion, make some decisions that are definitive, and then we'll feel better. The problem is, when we do it on this side of the brain, we create so much collateral damage because we're not seeing the complexity of the situation. We're not seeing that we're not going to be able to understand every single thing. It's more complicated. We just need to make decisions and be excited and enthusiastic that we're taking action, we're doing something about what we have, what our solutions are, and how that will solve things. What are some of the things that go look online and find some of the positive things, some of the solutions that are coming. Think about this. Here's one of them. The flu right now in the United States kills up to 60,000 people a year in the United States alone. 60,000 people a year. What if this epidemic teaches us things and gets us in new patterns, breaks our old patterns, helps us understand and realize that we can do some simple things, and we make a shift that actually reduces the virus moving. And this is how many people die, let alone how much hospitals are full and how much doctors spend their time and money and effort on the flu. And not being able to see the benefits that might happen, because our brain is predictive. It's always looking at the future. And if you're always looking at everything as a problem and all these things are going to happen and how horrific it is, then you're going to be in a place in your head that is just suffering before it even happens and not capable of really putting together things that help you. So what if we saw the flu? What if this teaches us some things that cuts the flu in half? Millions, hundreds of millions of doctor visits will be avoided. Billions of days of missed work will be avoided. If we cut it in half and we saved 30,000 lives a year from improving this flu, from improving our ability to work with viruses and keep them from passing, right? Look at what could happen. We could save more lives than we lose. The U.S. is now predicting, last I heard, and originally they said there would be 100 to 200,000 lives lost. Now they're saying it might only be 60. So now that's not to say that 60 is a great thing, but what if because of this, we come out with more understanding? I mean, look at all they're putting into understanding and learning and understanding viruses and how they work and the differences between them. And, this virus is, and they always evolve, and understanding that more and all these different things that can happen. What if we end up saving 30,000 lives a year and all those other things that the flu's happening? Now, we don't know, but we also don't know it's going to get worse. We also don't know that the flu is going to turn into something that kills millions of people. And so it's a matter of really focusing on the things that could happen that make sense to you, and with research and anything else that you can find that are good and great and wonderful, and getting and reviewing that in your head so that you can have a mindset that serves you to be the best able to make decisions. There are a lot of decisions coming. There are a lot of decisions. Preparing your home for potentially having the virus in one of your family members, and being ready for all that in a way that is okay, that's positive. It's all right. We're going to learn, we're going to get through it, and we're going to make it. And the president keeps saying, we're going to make it, and we're going to learn, and we're going to keep trying. And we don't know everything, but we never have known everything. And so we're just going to keep figuring out what we can. And I'm not here to promote the president, but he's the president of the United States. He's the person in that position. And I don't care who wins the election. The guy who gets in, he's the guy now. He's the one to listen to with an open mind and take his data that he's using the best you can to make decisions. There's a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of great things happening. Because this virus is going to spread more and more. And what we can do is very much, the only thing that we can control. Focusing on a bunch of things we can't control. The worldwide spread of this virus, we cannot control. We can barely influence, but we definitely can't control. And if you sit there and you think and you consider and you reconsider over and over all the things you can't control, you're going to be on this, and you're going to be able to do less influencing of the people around you. And they're going to see you as someone who has crazy information, and they're not going to listen, and it's going to be really hard to influence people, because that's what we need right now. We need to influence people to see what actions need to be taken. And we sit over here and we catastrophize and we worry and we concern, and it's not going to get us there. That part of our system that's going to kick in, that's there to save our lives, is going to be exacerbated, and it's going to be too big and too strong to people, and they're not going to listen. So it's about being over here. And not only that, but you won't access the data in your mind that helps you make good decisions. There's lots of changes and lots of little things. We need to be in this free and growth state of mind that really helps us. There's a ton of things that are likely to happen, and there's a lot of things that we can do. Another one that doesn't get talked about a lot that I really want to emphasize is that the chances of us getting that flu and the intensity of it and the amount of its spread is based directly with our immune systems. And I'm not here to preach any specific things to do about your immune systems. We all know things that we can be doing better to build our immune system. And it's a matter of doing it. This is an incredible opportunity to have more motivation than you've had in the past, to make those changes you've always wanted to make. Eating more healthy, whatever level that is for you. Healthy vegetables and eating right and getting good sleep, exercising, reducing stress. And that's one of the things I want to emphasize here, is that getting yourself over here reduces stress, lowers your blood pressure, and your stress levels in so many ways, builds your immune system. So another reason to get on this side of the brain, to build that immune system, to have that strength that when that virus, which you're likely to be exposed, but the amount you're exposed to it and your likeliness of getting is directly related to how strong your immune system is. And then how much you are affected by that, and how sick you get, and how miserable, and then how much you are able to spread that is based also off of your immune system. So our immune systems are something we can do something about. Immune system. And I do want to bring up just a few things, because processed foods that we crave over here are not the ones that help build our immune system. Try to get down to some basics, less processed foods, vegetables specifically. And there's so much research about building your immune system and reversing aging process with some simple things that are becoming more and more popular now, but there's a lot of research behind the clean keto diet that helps kind of keep us in this state, or at least brings us into a state of where we go into what's called autophagy, which clears out our mind. It clears out our neurons and our cells of our body, and doing intermittent fasting. And today is Good Friday, and one of the reasons I'm putting this out is because I want to get people on the good bandwagon, where we feel good, because Good Friday is a great time, and I'm in the middle of a fast with some local religious leaders who are encouraging a fast, and so I'm doing this fast, and I do fast actually quite regularly, and so having everybody involved in building and lifting the vibration of everyone being involved at once is just so powerful. And so I want to get this video out today so that people can make changes, understand how their brain works. There's a great study that professor did with a school, a large elementary school where their grades were just very, very low. And they taught them some basic things about their mind and how their mind works, how learning works. And that school that was known to be a school with lots, very high failure rate and low grades and just by teaching how our brain works, it started to come up, and they started to achieve, and they started to do much more just by understanding. It's about getting our conscious mind to dive into what our subconscious is doing and take part in that and affect it, break patterns, create new patterns. And it happens on this side of the brain. It happens when we're in that rest and digest. And that doesn't mean, low energy. It's actually high energy over here and builds us. And increases our immune system. And we all know those things that we can do. I heard a researcher just recently that has been fully engaged in learning about anti-aging, the aging of the cell and everything. And he said the number one thing you can do is move. Get up and move. Move. Get out. Do some things. Get your heart rate up. Get circulation. He said circulation is key. Is a very, very big key to doing that. And so build your immune system. Do things for your family. Do things for everyone. Don't get down and going towards food and escaping your situation by going to flavor foods that taste so good, but that are not going to be helpful for your immune system. But this is the number one key. We can do so much as far as not letting that virus spread, but it's spreading. And the thing that we can control, we can do, is we can build our immune system. Do things for your immune system. Do things for yourself. Take time for yourself. If you've believed life has been too busy for you to take time for yourself, this is the time to see that it is going to pay off. To be in a state of mind where you can build your immune system, you can make good decisions, you can influence other people, being focused on what you have to gain and the things that you can do and that you will have, no matter what happens. There's things you will still have. We are better off than the majority of this world, the people that exist in this world, with running water and electricity and all these, and cell phones and data in mass numbers and easy access to everything. Our resources are unlimited. We have so much available to us. It's about getting in our head where we can access those resources that really serve us, that really help. And I just wanted to put some stuff out here, and I want you to keep going on this path. I want you to sit down with somebody and say, what are some things we will still have no matter what happens? What are some things that we will still have? What are some things that could be really good that we can turn out? And look for them online. Go searching for people who share these things. There's great people. I mean, look at some of the things that are happening. Having parents home with their children more. That is an amazing thing. Look at all the things that could come from that. Look at all the life experiences these children will have that will change because they haven't been in schools and they've been home more. And look how this country is coming together. Look how people are really working together on things, and our words are of faith and of God and really wanting to give and serve each other. And there's all these entities that are coming up, nonprofits and everything that are coming together, and companies that are shifting their production to do things with respirators and masks and different things that can help us. I mean, we are seeing so much what really is love and kindness and coming from so many people. We're seeing the good in people come out. And there's businesses and governments that are literally shifting and losing sometimes millions of dollars in their business to help and to serve so that this virus doesn't take the lives of mostly our elderly. And so it's really just an amazing thing. There's so much happening. There really is a lot of good that comes out of things. And what other option do you have? To just look at all the negative, to look at all the things you're going to lose, look at all that's bad, and put yourself on this side of the brain. It's not going to work. Really getting over on this side is what's going to solve the problems. Seeing everything as and what it solves, what it changes in our mind, the way that we think and the way we see and we process. We are going to be such a prosperous country and world after this event. This event is going to challenge and break our patterns in so many ways, and we are going to come out stronger. We are going to come out more capable up here. And this is what I call our sacred ground. This is the processing plant that we have, that I believe, and if you believe there's something after this life, that's got to be what we take with us. It's our experience, it's our memories, it's our processing, it's how we believe and how we associate things with other things, and how we process and how we function goes with us. And this is the time to take care of it. Build your immune system, eat good, get moving, work on your health, and discover other things. I have to throw in just light therapy. There's just so much research around near infrared and red light therapy, and it's such an inexpensive way and takes very little time to get those benefits. There's so many benefits, and even directly related to mental health and Alzheimer's and things like that. And I just have to throw that out there because it's something that has so much research behind it and can help, that is just not well known yet in the mainstream, but it's getting there. So again, this is one of my first videos. I plan to do a lot more videos coming in the future, and I love, if this has touched you, if it's resonated with you in any way, please make comments here on YouTube, or if you're on Facebook or however, share this with people that you know and people that you love. If you think this is something that's helpful, if you know people that are struggling, that are in more of that anxiety place, I've got to help people with really severe mental health issues, suicidal, that come in one session they shift. They never make sense of considering suicide again. Their life turns around. They start having these experiences in life that light them up. They're excited about things. They stop being an introvert. They get out and they work towards things. They set goals and they do all these things because of that shift in how they see things. And this is just the beginning of those shifts. And so I love to help and serve you in any way that I can. I'm putting this video out here for free in hopes that people will share, and it will make a difference during this epidemic and this pandemic of this virus that's happening. And I want people to be focused on the good, on their faith, whatever faith it is that you have, whether it's a religious faith or faith in yourself or faith in humankind. Faith is so powerful. Having that hope and appreciation for the things that you have is so incredibly powerful to change the neurochemical processes in your brain, that area of your brain that you're using and the access you have to data that will ultimately serve you and help you to become that influential person in your circles. And if this resonates, again, share it, comment on it, do everything you can to spread this out. I'd love for this video to just go viral and to hit every person on the planet, because I know that there's so much experience behind me, and there's so much research behind how our brain works and knowing what it does for us. I just want that to get out to everybody I can. And please even go to and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a few other videos on there, and there's soon to be many, many more. And I would love to build that and to grow that and to touch more people. And I thank you so much for taking some time. The most precious thing you have is your attention. Guard it with everything. Don't let the media, don't let your distractions of life on your cell phone and other things take your attention. Put it where you want. What you focus on will determine what your experience is in life. And if you let other things constantly pull on you, focused in areas that don't serve you and don't get you to the things you want, which science and research shows that 70% of our automated processing and decision making doesn't lead to things we want. Get control of that focus. Put it in the place that serves you. Make sure that's what that your focus is not just being on whatever happens. Stop being reactive to your environment. Be proactive and start doing these things. Taking action is one of the biggest keys. Your system will feel it when you take action. Your brain will buy into it. The vibrations and the energy will buy into you taking actions. And celebrate those actions. Make them big. Take your problems, make them look small, make everything else look big. The smaller your problems look, the easier they are to work through. And I could go on forever. This is so fun for me. This is such great information. Thank you so much for listening. And please, again, share this. Get it out to as many people as you can. And I hope to see you soon. I love you. Thank you so much. It's all about love. It truly is. getting the love and the guidance that we get from love to work in our brain. And thank you so much, and have a great day.